Well, we are less than 2 weeks away from the start of the NFL draft, and I'm really excited to bring our next guest back into the program. He had an outstanding season this year and throughout his Navy career, and now he is expected to hear his name called during the NFL draft. It is a pleasure to welcome in the pride of Gilman, former Navy safety. Rayuan Lane is back with us here on the program. Ray, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to catch up with you again, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Ray, before we get into the draft, I just wonder, because I remember we talked to you in September, and we know there were a lot of positives at that point. But the
hmm
way this year played out, not just for you, but obviously for this team, and doing the things that you all did, winning the CIC, beating Army, winning a bowl game against Oklahoma, your path and the opportunity that you had to maybe depart at one point and go to greener pastures. What did it mean to you that it all worked out the way that it did for your final season at the Naval Academy?
Yeah, I think it's ultimately just a blessing, and I think those kind of outcomes, started from our senior class. Before the season even started, we were able to meet and talk about what our culture was going to be like, what our legacy was going to be like, and all those things, and kind of, get the whole team on the same page. So I felt as though we did a great job doing that. We were able to go through all the hard times, the previous seasons where we didn't have that many wins, we didn't really accomplish, too many of our goals, but we were able to put all that aside and move forward, and become a new program, but become a new team, and be able to accomplish those goals that we knew we could.
What does it mean to you to know that you helped write that new chapter in Navy football history, right? That like that's your legacy that will forever be there in Annapolis.
I mean, it means a lot, starting off just for the young guys on the team, for them to be able to see that, for them to be able to see the type of leaders we are, the type of leader that I am, all those different things, for the coaches to be able to see that, and then obviously for the fans to be able to see that, just a different energy being able to come out to Navy Marine Corps Memorial or wherever it might be to watch their team play and to watch their team put on a show. It feels awesome. It feels great.
Ray, I know you've opened up about the opportunities that you had when you did consider the transfer portal.
hmm
What a blessing! Like, do you ever play the what if game at all? Like, do you do that? Like, hey, what might this have been like if I had done this other thing, or how could life have been different? Do you do any of those things? And does it give you that reassurance that, like, no, I know I did the right thing?
I think you said it exactly right. I don't really tend to think about what could have happened or what should have happened or anything like that. I'm just really grateful, to be in the position I am in, to have stayed, to soon be a graduate of the Naval Academy,
Yeah.
to have accomplished those goals last season, and, all those things. So I never tend to think back. I'm just really, really grateful, for my decision and to be able to be here at the Naval Academy.
That's really cool. Rayon Lane is with us here on GCR. Ray, you get to do all of it, right? You get to do the Senior Bowl, you get to do the Combine, but it's clearly a little bit different for you than it is for everybody else going through this. Can you describe what it's been like to simultaneously be attempting to graduate from the Naval Academy, like actively, day to day, while also, going through what for everybody else would be the most significant job interview process they'll ever go through in their life?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things coming at once, but something that I really learned, I would say, my freshman year is doing hard things. If it was easy, everyone would be able to do it. So just being able to go through that process to balance class, workouts, film, Zoom meetings, all those different things. It just makes my character that much better and makes me prepare for that many more things. So it's a blessing, and I'm glad that I'm getting to go through it this way.
Ray, can you describe, like, how important it is to you to do both, right? That
hmm
you don't want it to be that I'm only focused on football. That, like, how
hmm
significant is it to you that you're showing, no, I am very serious about both my football career and my career in the Marines?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, no matter what you're doing in life, you always want to put your best foot forward. So that kind of culture that I was talking about our seniors kind of created on our football team. That goes into the same thing being here, in Bancroft Hall at the academy. It's the same culture. I can't just be halfway in and halfway out. So it's a full go mentality, and that's the only way a place like this can keep running and we can keep producing how we produce. So I would say that's the thing. Just putting your best foot forward in everything that you're in.
Ray, I know the policy. It's complicated at the point, but based on what I've heard, you're confident that when your name gets called in the NFL draft, you're going to have the opportunity to go ahead and pursue football for the next couple of years.
No doubt. I mean, 100% confidence. I'm not really thinking about what will happen if it doesn't, because we already know, it will happen. Just having those conversations, being able to get those paperwork and different things like that in. So yeah, well, I have 100% full confidence that everything will work out.
What is it like, explaining like to people that are in your life, right? Like that don't know, like, hey, when do you have a picture for what that means for what your service will be, down the road or in the meantime? Like, can you explain that yet, or do you not know what that looks like just yet?
Can you repeat that for me one more time?
Based on what we know now with this new policy, do you know what that will look like for when it is that you do get to serve? Like when that would be, is it after your career? Is it simultaneously that you'll be starting your service as you play in the NFL?
Yeah, so it'll be after
Okay.
the playing and stuff is over with. I'll get to go back and do what I ultimately signed up for. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool. It's very rare, right? We don't see that all every day. Ray, I know you were at Ravens local prospect day, and
hmm
as a kid who grew up right here in this area, went to Gilman. Can you kind of put it into words being in that facility? I read in the Athletic about like your experience watching the team,
hmm
but can you put into words what that was like, just being there and sort of walking around that facility and knowing, hey, this might be me.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about. Growing up in Little League, that was the first NFL stadium that I ever got to play in.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving forward, driving to Gilman every day, that was like one of the major structures I seen, M&T Bank Stadium. So just getting to go to their facility where they train at, getting to talk to coaches, getting to talk to coordinators personally and stuff like that. It's kind of, I would say it's kind of surreal, because you obviously, like, that's a dream being young. And then just for, it to be able to come true, to be sitting in the same rooms as greats have sat in the past, it's a surreal experience, but it's awesome at the same time, and I'm very thankful for it.
It's really incredible, and boy, we would be it would be really cool if it were to work out that way. We worry about the other thing, right? Like we worried about it being a certain team in Western Pennsylvania, which would still be cool for you, but not quite as cool for us if it were to work
hmm
out that way. Ray, how are you different than any other prospect in this NFL draft class? Right, the team that drafts you,
hmm
what are they getting that they couldn't get from anyone else that they would be using that pick on?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall I'm really good at getting the ball back to the offense. But other than that, you got a special teams warrior. You've seen it all throughout college. Starting on special teams all 4 years while starting on defense. So just the hunger, the love for football, the no job too small. Going out there just trying to put my best foot forward, trying to do whatever I can. You know, to help the team out. And then I would say really the intangibles that you learn from being here at the Naval
Mm-hmm.
Academy, as far as leadership, as far as maturity, all those types of things are just things that we were told, earlier on, we had to learn earlier on. So it just makes me that much more prepared to step into a room or step into a program, and be different and set myself apart.
Were you like that before you arrived in Annapolis, Ray, or did you need your time at the academy to become that type of person, that type of leader?
Yeah, I would say I had a little bit of it in me, but I mean, just 4 years of development, focusing on those pillars, honor, courage, and commitment. leadership, maturity, all those different types of things definitely helped me out a lot. Not only myself, but family, close ones, everyone that knew me was able to see a change in a positive way.
Do you think you can bring that immediately on? Like everybody talks about, hey, that's not leadership is not typically something that it's expected about from a rookie in the NFL. But do you feel
hmm
like that's just sort of who you are now? It's in your blood that, even as a rookie, you can bring those qualities to an NFL team.
I mean, I definitely do, and leadership is not always who's speaking up or
Mm-hmm.
trying to hop in front of the lines first. In order to lead, especially in new places, you got to be able to listen and learn and respect others. So being humble and being able to do those things, then you can kind of work your way into different various ways of leading. So I feel like I have a lot of training, in that area, and I feel like I could definitely help out, a program or room or whatever it would be.
Navy safety Rayuan Lane. Just another couple of minutes with him here on Glenn Clark Radio. Ray, do you even get to have like a draft party, or you like, dude, I got to do drills? That's just not. It's not really in the cards for me.
Yeah, so I'll be in class like normal those first 2 days, but on that Saturday I'll be
Yeah.
able to just chill with my family and watch.
Do you feel like this is something? I feel like the chip on the shoulder thing is something that was probably significant for you, given that you weren't like a highly pursued recruit coming out of high
hmm
school. Do you still feel that today? Like, even with all of the opportunity that you've gotten, as I referenced, doing the Senior Bowl, doing the Combine, do you still carry that chip on the shoulder mentality with you?
No doubt. And that was something that I had ever since I was a little kid.
Hmm.
I always have something to prove, no matter what, because I always believe I can do more, I can show more. I'm ultimately better than what people might think. So just going to attack every single day and going out there with something to prove, ultimately just improves your game, and improves your respect. It just improves you in all different areas. So that's something that will never go away from me.
I respect that, man. I feel like there's something like uniquely Baltimore about that too, right? Like you're not the only person. I'm betting even your brother, right, at a place like Penn State probably carries that with him too. I don't think that's unique.
hmm
Um, it,
No doubt.
it's sort of a part of who we are, man. Like that's just the way that it goes. Who in your family would struggle the most if it were to be the Steelers?
um, I honestly don't think any of
You
them
think they'll all be
would
good?
be struggling. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they'd be fine.
Man, I don't know how I would handle that. I don't know if that'll be all right whatsoever. I don't know if that'll be the case. Ray, I guess I'll wrap with this one, right? You everything that you've accomplished to this point and everything that's laid out in front of you. What is it going to mean to you when you do hear your name called, right? Like by
hmm
whoever it is. What is that moment going to mean to you next weekend when it hits that it's real and it's happening and you're in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be ecstatic. Obviously, I think one of the big points is just being able to have that name called, and kind of set a standard, kind of a bar for my little brother, because obviously he looks up to me. So that would just make him get on his grind so much
Mm.
more. He appreciate that. But then obviously just knowing that, hey, the work is just starting. It's not enough just to hear your name called and be like, oh, the work is done. I finally made it. No, you're back at the bottom really, and like I said, that chip on your shoulder, it has to be there all throughout workouts, training camp, all those different types of things, just to become the type of player that I want to be. So.
Love that, man. Ray, I can't tell you enough what a joy it was to watch you play football these last 4 years at Navy, man. And again, as I said a couple of times, God, it would be the coolest thing ever. If much like Keenan Reynolds once upon of a time, it worked out
Mhm.
that you stuck around here in Baltimore. Wherever you are, I promise we'll root for you. Just understand if it is black and yellow that we probably will say mean things on Twitter. We don't mean it. All right, like it's
No
not
doubt.
personal. We will forever be fans of yours, dude. I know. Let's remind everybody on Instagram, it's Rayuan Lane the third, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then on Twitter, Rayon18.
Yes, sir.
Ray, congratulations on everything, man. Can't wait to see what's next for you. Really appreciate you taking the time for us this morning.
No doubt. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.